Hey everyone, welcome back to Married on Purpose. I'm so glad you're here today because we're tackling something that could literally save your marriage. And I'm not exaggerating. Today we're talking about purpose. Not just any purpose, but the purpose of your marriage. Let me start with Psalm 138, verse 8. The Lord will fulfill his purpose for me. Your love, O Lord, endures forever. Do not abandon the works of your hands. The hands symbolize purpose. And purpose is what every marriage needs to have motivation to deal with conflict, to push through the hard times, and to build something that lasts. So if you've ever wondered, why are we even doing this? Or what's the point of staying together? This video is for you. Stay with me because by the end, I'm going to give you clear, actionable steps to get your marriage back on purpose. Let me tell you a story that changed how I think about purpose forever. When my son was about 2 years old, I had just bought my most expensive phone ever. I'm talking about $300, which back then was serious money. This thing was state of the art. Color screen, backlit, keyboard, the works. I was so proud of it. One day, I put the phone down on a tray next to a bowl of water that I just had sitting there. Then I made the most common parental mistake in history. I turned my back on my toddler. And then all I heard was a kaplunk, followed by the most joyful squeals of delight you've ever heard. Look, Daddy, I made a boat. I spun around to see my brand new, very expensive gadget floating color screen down in the bowl of water. And that's when I finally understood why manufacturers don't warranty water damage. But here's what my son taught me that day, and this is crucial. If the purpose of a thing is not known, abuse is inevitable. My son didn't know that phones were for communication. He thought it was a boat. And because he didn't know its purpose, he used it in a way that destroyed it. The same thing happens in marriage every single day. We're all aware of the alarming divorce rate in the United States, but what's really interesting and honestly heartbreaking are the 3 specific milestones where most couples call it quits. Milestone 1 is the 7-year itch. This is when the surrealism of the wedding finally wears off. The romance of the early years fades, couples roll over in bed, take an honest look at who they married, and suddenly realize they can't answer the question, why are we together? The feelings have faded and there's no deeper purpose holding them together. Milestone 2, the empty nest syndrome. The kids are gone, and beyond the romantic feelings, which have long since come and gone, and beyond the obligation to raise children together, couples find very little reason to stay together. This is tragic because romantic feelings like children are temporary. They come and go. If your marriage is built only on these things, what happens when they're no longer there? Milestone 3, retirement. Suddenly, you're no longer getting up and going to work every day. All those productive hours you used to spend away from each other, now you're facing spending them with each other. And this is when couples make devastating realizations. Through all those years, they never created any connectors, no lines of attachment into each other's lives, no common interests, no shared experience binding them together. They've been living parallel lives, not a shared life. Here's something that might surprise you. On average, arranged marriages, common in certain cultures, last longer than Western marriages. Why? Because these marriages are built with purpose in mind first. Romantic feelings are almost considered incidental. Now, I'm not advocating for arranged marriages because purpose without passion makes marriage just another boring job. We need both. But here's the principle. Passion without purpose does not last. So how do you know if your marriage is suffering from a lack of purpose? Let me give you 2 diagnostic tests. Symptom number 1. Right now, I want you to complete this sentence to your spouse. I could not achieve blank without you. Go ahead, fill in that blank. If nothing comes to mind beyond raising our children, I hate to tell you this, but your marriage could be a long exotic cruise to nowhere. Beautiful scenery, but no real destination. Symptom number 2. One or both of you focuses on your own needs instead of the marriage needs. The emphasis is on selfish gain over collective results. Here's another test. Take a stock of what you both own together, both legally and emotionally. Your car, home, friendships, hobbies, career. I once counseled a husband who bought a new car and told his wife she wasn't allowed to drive it. She had her own car, and his was off limits. Think about that for a second. Here's the ultimate question. If you got divorced tomorrow, would the only thing that really changed in your life be your address? If so, are you really married, or are you just roommates with legal paperwork? All right, if your marriage is suffering from a lack of purpose, and let's be honest, most of us are to some degree, these are clear, actionable steps that you can start implementing today. Step 1, build shared friendships. You and your spouse need a shared circle of friends, both married and single couples, who you both enjoy spending time with. Not just his friends, not just her friends, our friends. These are people who you do life with together. People who you see as a unit, not as individuals who happen to be married. This week, I want you to reach out to one couple or individual that you both connect with and schedule something together. Dinner, coffee, game night, it doesn't matter. Just do it together. Okay, step 2, explore your mutual interests. Remember when you were dating? Everything was an adventure. You wanted to know what the other person liked. You were curious. You explored together. When was the last time you did that? Start exploring your mutual interest again. Find things you both enjoy. Maybe it's hiking, cooking, traveling, board games, serving at church. Whatever it is, find it and do it together. So sit down with your spouse this week and make a list of 3 things that you both used to enjoy and want to try together. Then pick one and put it on the calendar. Step number 3, get more involved in your spouse's hobbies, organizations, or special interests. Not as a spectator, but as a participant. You might discover that you not only enjoy it, but you bring a special talent that actually increases your spouse's enjoyment too. Your wife loves gardening? Get out there and help her. Your husband is into woodworking? Learn about it. Ask questions. Be present. This week, ask your spouse about their hobby or interest and spend at least 1 hour engaging with it together. Step number 4, change your question. This one is huge. Stop asking, what is my purpose? And start asking, who is my purpose? Your God-given gifts, talents, and abilities should benefit your spouse before anybody else. Think about that. Before your boss sees the best of you, before your friends do, before your kids do, your spouse should be the primary beneficiary of who you are and what you bring to the table. So, write down 3 talents or abilities that you have, and then ask yourself, how can I use these to serve my spouse this week? Then do it. Step number 5, spend more time together as a couple. I know, you're busy. We're all busy. But you have to be intentional about this. Look for ways to spend more quality time together. Get involved in volunteer efforts together. Maybe start a side business for a second income. Something that you build together. Begin to think of your marriage as the asset it is, not just an obligation at the end of the day. So, block out at least 1 hour this week. Just you two, no kids, no phones, and do something together. Talk about your dreams, your goals, where you want to be in 5 years. Make it count. And let me leave you with this truth that I want you to remember. Hollywood promises happily ever after, but God promises happily hereafter. Your marriage exists for something more enduring than merely your happiness. Purpose makes the conflicts worthwhile. Purpose gives you a reason to fight for your marriage instead of fighting in your marriage. I don't intend to accomplish anything significant in my future that doesn't depend on my wife. Popular culture will try to convince you that your spouse sometimes holds you back, but here's the truth. Your spouse steadies your pace. No matter what I accomplish, if her stamp isn't on it, then it may be an interesting pursuit, but it's not my purpose. So, here's the challenge for you today. What is the purpose of your marriage? Not what society says it should be, not what your parents' marriage was. What is your marriage building that's bigger than just the two of you? Have that conversation with your spouse this week. Use those 5 steps and start creating those connectors. Because when you know your purpose, you can weather any storm. When you know your purpose, conflicts become opportunities. When you know your purpose, divorce isn't even on the table anymore. If this message helped you today, do me a favor, hit that like button, subscribe to Married on Purpose, and drop a comment below telling us which of these 5 steps are you going to implement first. And if you know a couple who needs to hear this message, share this video with them. You might just save a marriage. Thanks for watching, and remember, stay married on purpose. God bless your marriage, and I'll see you in the next video.